Red Bull has just released shocking new footage that could completely change the outcome of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and the entire championship. The video shows Lando Norris performing a controversial overtake that may have broken clear FIA regulations, and now the penalty talk is real. Sources inside the FIA confirm that the footage is under active investigation and McLaren is facing serious heat as the title hangs in the balance. Do not blink, because if this penalty goes through, Verstappen could be crowned champion once again. Subscribe right now so you do not miss what could be the most explosive decision of the entire Formula 1 season. It was supposed to be a smooth finish to the season for McLaren. Lando Norris crossed the line in Abu Dhabi with confidence, securing what looked like a solid result for both himself and the team. But just hours after the checkered flag, everything turned upside down. The FIA confirmed they had received new footage from Red Bull, and what that video shows could be nothing short of devastating for Norris' race and potentially the championship standings. The footage reportedly captures an off-track overtake during one of the most critical laps, one that hadn't been flagged by stewards during the race. That detail alone raised eyebrows, but what followed was even more explosive. Red Bull's technical team claims the move violated Article 33.3 of the sporting regulations, which governs track limits and how positions must be returned if a car gains lasting advantage off-track. The footage, presented with onboard telemetry and GPS overlays, reportedly makes it clear that Norris went fully beyond track limits and did not relinquish the position immediately afterward. In the heat of battle, it might have been missed by the live stewards. But not anymore. With these new visuals in hand, the FIA has officially opened a secondary post-race investigation. This is not just a minor slap on the wrist. If found in violation, Norris could face a 5 or even 10-second time penalty applied retroactively. And in a race as tight as Abu Dhabi, that margin could drastically shift the final order. Oscar Piastri, Sergio Perez, and even Verstappen were all within close reach at various phases of the final stint. A time penalty of that scale could demote Norris several positions, or worse, disqualify him from critical points. And those points? They might decide a championship outcome. Tensions within the paddock have skyrocketed. McLaren team boss Andrea Stella was reportedly furious but composed when approached by the media. "We're reviewing the data, but we're confident in Lando's drive," he said. However, his body language told a different story. Sources close to McLaren suggest the team may not have had access to this new footage prior to the race end. Red Bull's move to release it now, strategically, raises suspicions of psychological warfare or a last-minute attempt to disrupt McLaren's momentum and restore Verstappen's shot at the title. Verstappen himself was unusually quiet post-race, but insiders from Red Bull suggest that the Dutch driver was well aware of the potential implications even before the news became public. "Max has been here before," one team engineer noted, referencing past seasons where title outcomes hung on post-race decisions. This time, it might not be about him making a move, but about him waiting to benefit from another driver's mistake. The FIA's findings could change the official results, and Verstappen stands to be the biggest beneficiary. The timing of this release, less than 24 hours after the race and just before the official FIA classification was finalized, is no coincidence. Red Bull clearly waited until they had irrefutable evidence, choosing the most critical moment to escalate the issue. The question now is whether the FIA will act swiftly or delay the decision into the off-season. One thing is certain: McLaren's celebration has stopped cold, and the pressure on Norris has never been higher. Every word in that rulebook will now be dissected frame by frame. This is not just about one race. It is about legacy, reputation, and the balance of power in Formula 1 heading into the 2026 season. If Norris is penalized, the title outcome shifts. If he is cleared, Red Bull's move backfires publicly. Either way, the tension is electric, and the motorsport world is watching. This story is far from over. In the hours that followed Red Bull's submission of the footage, McLaren engineers were seen returning to the data room, replaying Norris onboard laps in forensic detail. Multiple angles were analyzed, including GPS overlays and external camera feeds, and while McLaren maintains that no advantage was gained, the FIA's preliminary wording in its bulletin stated that a possible breach of racing conduct had occurred. That language is serious, and while it doesn't guarantee a penalty, it opens the door wide enough for severe consequences to follow. Meanwhile, within the Red Bull garage, confidence is growing. Their sporting director has already told Sky Sports that the team has full faith in the evidence and believes the rules are clear on what happens when a driver leaves the track and fails to return the position. What makes this even more complex is that Norris' overtake wasn't just on any driver, it was on a direct rival whose points tally could swing the championship if altered. That puts the entire move under even greater scrutiny and gives the FIA a reason to treat this not as an isolated case, but one with title-level ramifications. Oscar Piastri, who has remained surprisingly quiet through the entire weekend, may now find himself as the silent winner in all of this. If Norris is penalized and loses position, Piastri could move up the order and, in a best-case scenario, take home his first career Grand Prix victory. But insiders say Piastri is also under team orders to avoid making public comments until the FIA process concludes. He was seen leaving the paddock late at night, quietly escorted with his manager, avoiding press questions entirely. This silence might be strategic or might speak volumes. For Verstappen, this is uncharted territory, not because he's unfamiliar with controversy, but because he's on the receiving end of a situation where patience, not aggression, may be his best strategy. Red Bull's team principal reportedly advised Verstappen to say nothing and wait for the outcome, knowing that even the slightest misstep in tone could reignite the same kind of fan outrage that followed the 2021 season. Verstappen's only comment? A cryptic one: sometimes, the race isn't over when the flag drops. As for the FIA, they now face a difficult choice. If they confirm the footage shows a rules breach, they must apply a penalty retroactively. If they don't, they risk accusations of selective enforcement. The politics are huge. This isn't just about McLaren versus Red Bull. It's about consistency. It's about precedent. And with so much at stake, any decision will ripple into how every team approaches aggressive overtakes in future seasons. Fans online are split. Some argue that Norris clearly gained from the move and should be penalized without hesitation. Others believe the timing of Red Bull's footage release is manipulative and should not override the in-race stewards' lack of response. Trending hashtags like Norris penalty and Give It to Max have flooded X and Instagram. This has become more than a race controversy, it's now a global Formula One moment with real reputational consequences for everyone involved. What happens next will define the end of the 2025 season. If the FIA rules against Norris, not only could he lose the win, he could lose the title, handing Verstappen yet another championship in a dramatic post-race reversal. And if the FIA clears him, Red Bull may walk away furious, but the paddock will move forward. Either way, Formula One has once again proven why no race is ever truly over until the FIA says it is. Behind closed doors, FIA officials have now entered the final review stage of the investigation. According to insiders, multiple stewards from outside the original race weekend have been brought in to ensure neutrality. That's a rare move, typically reserved for appeals or protest hearings, not post-race incidents. This alone signals how serious this case has become. The world is waiting. Would the FIA dare change the title outcome after the season finale? McLaren's legal team has reportedly submitted counterdata suggesting Norris maintained a fair trajectory and did not gain a lasting advantage, the key phrase needed to avoid a penalty under Article 27.3. But Red Bull's new footage includes rearward telemetry from the overtaken car, which allegedly shows Norris never gave the position back nor even slowed after going off track. If the FIA accepts this interpretation, a time penalty is almost automatic under current precedent. Now, let's not underestimate the domino effect here. A 5-second penalty could push Norris off the podium. A 10-second penalty? He could tumble to 5th or 6th depending on sector gaps. Verstappen, currently sitting just behind Norris in the final classification, would leap into a higher position, possibly even sealing the championship if enough points swing. And that's not even accounting for the potential appeal process. If either team is dissatisfied, this could drag on for weeks. The psychological pressure on Lando Norris is mounting. In interviews earlier this season, he admitted that the mental side of F1 is tougher than people realize. Now, with the title possibly slipping away due to a single questionable move, Norris' resolve will be tested like never before. This could define his career either as the moment he was wronged or the moment he cracked under pressure. It's a razor-thin line, and the world is watching. Meanwhile, Verstappen is playing the long game. He's already made history multiple times. But this situation offers him the chance to become champion again without even needing to step on the throttle. If the FIA rules in his favor, it cements Red Bull's season as one of the most dramatic comebacks in F1 history. It's the kind of storyline that turns champions into legends. And you can bet Red Bull's media team is already prepping for either outcome. What makes this entire situation unprecedented is the fact that technology and evidence surfaced after the race ended. In an era where cameras are everywhere, no move goes unseen forever. It's a reminder to drivers, teams, and fans: the race may end on track, but the story never does. And this one? It might just end with a title twist no one expected when the checkered flag dropped. So if you're still watching and you love F1, you absolutely need to subscribe now. Because when the FIA finally announces their decision, it could rewrite the ending to the 2025 Formula One season. Verstappen's crown, Norris' heartbreak, or a total shock. One ruling. Everything changes. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of what's next.